Together, Ajnanam Timirandasya Jnanam Salakaya Chaksuramnalitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tulaya Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadabhaktaya Namo Namaha Yam Pravajantamapetakriyam Dvaipayano Virahakatarahamajumava Putreti tanmayataya Taro Vinirus Tam Sarvabhuta Hridayam Munimanatosmi Bhaktya Vinay Aparalakshay Tirtasya Kamari Tarangamare Kripamitvam Sharanam Prapadyam Vrinde Namaste Charanarvindam Tavaivasmi Tavaivasmi Najivamitam Vina Iti Vigyarare Tam Nayamam Charanantike. First, I offer my unlimited obeisances in the dust of the lotus feet of my most worshipful Dikshaguru, Nityalila Pravishta Om Vishnupad, Astotra Sat Shri Srimad Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, and the same unlimited obeisances in the dust of the lotus feet of my most worshipful Shiksha Gurudev, Nityalila Pravishta Om Vishnupad, Astotra Sat Shri Srimad Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayana Swami Maharaj, and Srila Bhakti began Bharati Goswami Maharaj. Also to the lotus feet of Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Goswami Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Goswami Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Vaibhav Puri Goswami Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Vedanta Vaman Goswami Maharaj, Srila Gaur Govinda Goswami Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Balatirtha Goswami Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Dwarit Madhav Goswami Maharaj, and to our Param Gurudev Srila Bhakti Priyankesha Goswami Maharaj, and Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, and all their divine associates, and all the assembled devotees. Before we begin, Vasanti, is this what you sent out today? What? Because it says the appearance day is on April 10th.
I didn't send it on my phone, so I just posted it on
What?
I didn't send it on my
You put it on the Facebook?
Yeah, I just put whatever's on
But still it needed to be.
Well, it says today's the disappearance.
Oh, I see. Is the disappearance.
Right.
I see. Okay. But April 10th wasn't the appearance.
April was the disappearance. April was disappearance.
Today's disappearance? April.
Today's February.
Oh, April, I understand. Okay. Well, we got the glories, didn't we? The Santi is so amazing. She sends
It's April 9th according to local calendar.
local calendar. Because she sends everything out on Pure Bhakti Facebook and Harikatha Facebook and her Facebook, and the whole world gets to experience Srila Gurudev that way. So here we are. This is a lecture that Srila Gurudev gave in Hawaii in 2007, in January, end of January. And also because he gave similar lectures on other dates. In brackets, we've included the similar information that he gave in 2000 Mathura. So we'll see if in this discussion we can go back and forth and add what we need to. We also have Srila Bhakti began Bharati Goswami Maharaj's lecture. And so we'll see what's additional there. Sri Ramanujacharya was born in South India. He's an incarnation of Lakshmi. The word Anuja means younger brother. So Ram Anuja refers to the younger brother of Lord Ram. But how can that be? Because he appeared much later, millions of years later than Ram. So actually, when Lakshman appears in Kali Yuga, he appears as the Acharya of the Sri Sampradaya, namely Ramanuja Acharya. So he's really Lakshman. He's a disciple of Jamunacharya. And in a few minutes we'll hear that most amazing katha about their relationship. As a boy, he was exceptionally intelligent. At a very young age, he knew all Sanskrit grammar. Does anybody know how to say Sanskrit grammar in Sanskrit?
Vyakarana.
Yeah, good. We have scholars here. Literature, that is Sahitya, it's a little harder word, and all the deep conclusions of the Vedic scriptures. Sri Ramanujacharya accepted the Sri Sampradaya. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada took many teachings from him, such as the duties of a sannyasi, the duties, Hare Krishna, the duties of a disciple, the etiquette of a sannyasi, of a Vaishnava, and ours, Prabhupada's Prabhupada, utilized 108 teachings of Ramanujacharya. We follow these teachings, and we have also published them, Gurudev is saying, in the Bhagavad Patrika, that is his, and Gaudiya Patrika, that is his Hindi and Bengali magazines. And also we were reading yesterday on the disappearance day of Srila Madhvacharya that Srila Jiva Goswami, who was a pure Gaudiya Sampradaya Acharya, he took many teachings from Madhvacharya and from Ramanujacharya in his Satsandarbhas. So he had a teacher named Yadavacharya, who was a Mayavad, which their theory is that all variety and individuality is illusion. We're all one kind of lump. And he was a follower of Advaitavad too. The theory that the only truth is impersonal. The undifferentiated oneness. So one day his teacher began to explain his understanding of the beauty of Sri Krishna's eyes. So in this regard, Chandogya Upanishad uses the word kapyasam. And Yadavacharya, which means the lotus eyes, refers to the lotus eyes of Krishna. But Yadavacharya, who didn't really believe in Krishna's existence, because he believed in the undifferentiated oneness, he said that kapi means, you know how in Sanskrit you could break up the words in any way that you want. You can make any kind of sandhis, which means combination of words to mean many different things. So therefore the Babajis of Radha Kund take Ekarupa Sarupabhak in the Paramatma Sandarbha to mean that the jivas are an undifferentiated oneness. That's their spiritual nature. Whereas the Gaudiya Vaishnava translation, using the same exact Eka, one, Rupa, form, Swarupa Bhak, has a Swarup, a spiritual form, Eka meaning one unique, single spiritual form. So this is the nature of Sanskrit and the nature of the translations. Depending, there's always a degree of interpretation, because otherwise different people wouldn't come up with different translations. And those combinations of interpretation and actual meaning depends on the sukritis, the sanskars of the individual translator, as well as the context of the verse. So he explained kapi as monkey, and kapi asam means seat, right? So the seat of the monkey is the behind or the ass of the monkey. And the monkey's rear end, kapi asam, is reddish on the both sides, isn't it? Those of you who have been in India know that. So he concluded that Krishna's lotus eyes are like a monkey's rear end. Now when Ramanujacharya heard this, in Srila Bhakti Bharati Goswami Maharaj, in his lecture, he said that all this happened, this discussion happened when Ramanuja was giving a massage to Yadavacharya, also known as Yadava Prakash. So hearing this, Ramanujacharya began to weep. He's a Vaishnava. Later, and then what Gurudev says, later he was massaging him. He told him, that explanation that you gave about the kapiyasam is wrong. Kapi can be understood to mean that which takes water from everywhere. So who takes water from everywhere? Who? The sun. And the word asam also means to blossom. You can remember that. Asam means to blossom. And kapi means to take water from everywhere. You know, the sun evaporates water, even from a dirty place, like with his urine and stool, but it remains pure.
You said Assam means to blossom?
Assam means to blossom.
Isn't there a state called Assam? Or is that...
And that's ASSAM.
Oh, it's different.
Assam.
Assam, okay. Close.
Like lit and light and loot and lot. And lit. So what blossoms under the sun? What blossoms under the sun?
Lotus.
The lotus. So therefore we conclude that this verse means that Krishna's eyes are as beautiful as a lotus flower. So when his teacher heard this, he was astonished. And he wasn't astonished in an appreciative way. He was thinking, if this boy is so knowledgeable at such a young age, you need to learn English because this is so much nectar. See? Mucho bueno. Learn no English. Because you're missing so much. Comprendo?
I know.
You're not that old that you can't learn, that you can't still learn. Comprendo? Okay. So, If he's so knowledgeable at such a young age, what will he do when he grows up? If he remains alive, this Mayavad teaching will be finished. So what did he do? Plan to murder him. He thought this boy is very dangerous. In the future, he might uproot all of our impersonal philosophy. So, thinking to trick Ramanuja, Yadavacharya told him that he's going to be traveling with all of his disciples, students, to do some preaching, and that Ramanuja can also accompany them. Ramanuja was a very sincere and innocent boy, so he didn't understand the teaching's intention. Then, when they were all in a very deep forest, they decided that this would be the time to murder him. But, fortuitously, Govinda was a cousin brother of Ramanuja. So he told them of their plan, and he urged him to flee from there as quickly as possible. How was the Haladar charge?
Yeah, charge the camera. No,
Oh,
charge the mic.
I see.
So the mics are charged. It's just the reception of the wireless.
Oh, I see.
Something wrong with
So you're a charger.
Yeah. Camera is all charged up.
Okay. So he told him to flee as soon as he could. So therefore, in the middle of the night, Ramanuja told him that he was going to the international toilet, and he ran away. So now alone, in the middle of the night, in a new forest, far away from his village, all of a sudden, he saw a hunter, along with his wife, holding a hurricane lamp. And the man asked him, "Where are you going?" So Ramanuja said, "I'm going to Kanchipuram." That was his hometown. So the man replied, "Well, we're also going to Kanchipuram, so you can come along with us." So when he arrived at Kanchipuram, his own village, which was far away, those persons somehow or other instantly disappeared. And Ramanuja began to weep. He understood that this was certainly the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Narayan himself, along with Lakshmi, his eternal consort, who had saved his life. Throughout the day and night, he had passed through dense forest. It was difficult for him to discern the way, especially at night. So, in this other lecture, Gurudev says that he appeared in the form of Bharadraj, holding that lantern. And then in no time at all, they covered the whole long distance and were standing outside the village. So sometime later, Ramanuja's teacher returned to the village. He had been thinking that perhaps a lion or tiger had eaten Ramanuja, and he was very happy. But when he arrived, he saw that Ramanuja was alive. He called him and told him to forget everything that had happened. Can you imagine the goal? Ramanuja again resumed his Sanskrit studies with Yadavacharya. Why? Because he had a desire to deliver him. After some years, Ramanuja converted Yadavacharya to the Vaishnava philosophy, whereupon his teacher became his disciple. And at one point thereafter, Ramanuja began hearing of the qualities of a great Vaishnava guru in South India by the name of Jamunacharya. Does anybody remember how Prabhupada quoted Jamunacharya in his Bhagavad Gita?
Yeah, spit.
Yeah, can you say that in the Prabhu?
Jamunacharya.
You have the mic?
Other mic.
Where is the other mic?
Can you get the other mic?
You could have this one.
So Jamunacharya, he was a great king, and then he became a Vaishnava, and he wrote some prayers. One of those prayers, he wrote that because he was a king and he used to enjoy great sense gratification. So he said, now after tasting the nectar from the lotus feet of the Lord Krishna, whenever I think of sex life, I spite on it, Sri Prabhupada would say.
Okay. And he eventually became the disciple of Jamunacharya. Later he married, and after his marriage, he began to teach boys at a Sanskrit school, and all the students liked him. Now think about his wife. She was very quarrelsome, proud, sectarian, discourteous, uncooperative, and many incidents took place which he was tolerating at first, but then it came to a point where he couldn't. One day, a disciple of Yamunacharya named Kanchipuram came to the house of Ramanujacharya. He was born in a low-caste family, but he was a very high-class devotee. But the wife, she thought, well, we're Brahmins and you're low class.
I think it was low-class Brahmin.
Oh, he was a low-class Brahmin? Okay.
I thought he was like like a dark, he was a black body more in the caste. Yeah, because he was a lower caste. I didn't know the guy was a Brahmin. I didn't think he was a Brahmin.
Yeah, here it says lower caste, but yeah, which is more than a Brahmin.
Yeah.
So what happened was, he came there along with his wife on the order of their Gurudev. And he now began to give his association, because he was a senior godbrother, he began to instruct and inspire Ramanujacharya. And so Ramanujacharya respected Kanchipuram like a Shiksha Guru, sent by his Guru. So one day, when Ramanujacharya's wife was drawing water from the well, Kanchipura's wife, Purna's wife, was also drawing water. So some of the water from Kanchipurna's wife's bucket fell into the bucket of Ramanuja's wife. And she immediately became very angry and started to insult her with abusive language. When Kanchipurna returned, his wife told him all the incident that happened in the well, and he immediately left the house of Ramanujacharya. Upon hearing the reason why his Shiksha Guru had departed, Ramanuja began to think, I should not be with this lady. Somehow or other, I should give her up right away. He hadn't told Ramanujacharya what had happened, but he just left the place and went to Sri Rangam. But somehow or other he came to know that his wife had offended a Vaishnavi. So later, Sri Jamunacharya sent Purnacharya to bring Ramanujacharya to him in Sri Rangam. However, Jamunacharya was very sick, well, let's say performing sick pastimes at that time. And by the time Ramanuja arrived, wait, that's wrong. I mean, it's out of order. Something is definitely out of order. Because what happened is, at page 3, oh, this is page 3, this is page 4. Oh yeah, so here's the thing. Okay, so Later, Sri Jamunacharya sent Purnacharya. So are we remembering all these names? There's Yadavacharya, who's Ramanujacharya's teacher, who was a Mayavadi, attempted murderer, and who later became his disciple. Then there's Kanchi Purnam, who was the Diksha Guru of Ramanujacharya, and the disciple of his Diksha Guru, Jamunacharya. And now there's a new one coming up, and that is Purnacharya. Jamunacharya sent Purnacharya to Ramanujacharya to bring him to Sri Rangam. But Jamunacharya was sick at that time, and by the time Ramanuja arrived in Sri Rangam, he had departed from the vision of the world. So Purnacharya was sent there to bring him to Sri Rangam, but it was already too late. And Ramanuja used to give him so much honor, always offering him obeisances and treating him like a Shiksha Guru. So while living with Ramanujacharya, Purnacharya began to impart the instructions that he had received from his Gurudev. So one day, when Ramanujacharya was teaching at the school, a hungry Brahmana came there. And Ramanuja told him, well, if you go to my house to beg, my wife will certainly give you something. But when the Brahmin went there, his very cruel wife said, I can't give you anything. Go, get out of here. This is a Brahmana. The Brahmana returned to Ramanuja, told him to go back to his house and tell his wife, look, I'm coming from the house of your father. He sent me to see you, so please take this letter from him. Ramanuja personally wrote the letter he gave to the Brahmana. He must have written it with his left hand so she wouldn't recognize the handwriting, to deliver to his wife. And the letter stated, your brother will marry very soon, so you must come to your father's house. After reading the letter, Ramanuja's wife began to honor that Brahmana, and she gave him a large quantity of delicious prasadam. I don't know how it could be called prasadam if she was so offensive.
I heard they were the highest level of Brahmins. That's why she was so proud. She was extremely, because they were the last.
So she was the highest
Brahmin
caste
class, yeah.
of Brahmin. So even looking down at other Brahmins, especially poor, hungry Brahmins. So writing these words very nicely, he had folded the letter and tied it with colorful threads, so it looked like there was going to be a big wedding. Oh, my daughter, I'm arranging the marriage of my son, your brother. So please come and bring your husband with you. So then, now Ramanuja's wife's behavior completely changed. Oh, welcome, warmly, sweetly. Offered him so much palatable foods and sweets. And then, when Ramanuja came home, she told him about the marriage and that her father wanted them both to go, and asked him to please come along. He said, no, I cannot come, for I'm very busy. So you go now with this Brahmana, but don't be late. So when his wife left to go to the house of her father, Ramanuja also left the house. He went to Sri Rangam to meet his Gurudev, Jamunacharya. But since Jamunacharya had left his body just before Ramanuja arrived, Ramanuja saw that many devotees were taking his transcendental body to be put in samadhi. All the disciples were weeping as they carried the body in a big procession. So Ramanuja felt very disheartened, very sad. He told them, I've accepted Jamunacharya as my Gurudev. I want to see his face. So his disciples stopped and lifted the cloth from his body. Ramanuja could see that 3 of Jamunacharya's fingers, were folded. 1, 2, 3. He asked the disciples why it was folded, and they said they never saw it before. They didn't notice it before. So they had no idea. It just happened now. So then, right there and then, he promised in front of everybody, I will write Sri Bhasya commentary of Vedanta Sutra. So there's Govinda Bhasya of who? Baladev Vijayabhusan. Yesterday we read that there was the Brihad Bhasya and Anubhasya of Vedanta Sutra. By who? Madhvacharya. And today we're hearing about Ramanujacharya's what? Sri Bhasya. Okay, good. Then,
Ramanujacharya was before.
Sorry?
Ramanujacharya was in the time before Madhvacharya.
So Ramanujacharya's Drupadi Prabhu's offering that he came before Madhvacharya. So his commentary came before as well. So, 1, I will write Sri Bhasya commentary of Vedanta Sutra. And all of a sudden, one of his fingers immediately became straight. Then he said, I will take sannyas. And a second one came straight. Relaxed. Lastly, he said, I will preach the mission of my Gurudev, Jamunacharya. At which time the last finger relaxed and became straight. Seeing this, everyone present became astonished. After Jamunacharya was given samadhi, so in other words, what we could say is, Ramanujacharya observed along with all present, since the 3 fingers were open. So then and there, he formally accepted, as formal as you can get, he formally accepted Tridandi Sannyas from Jamunacharya. After he was given samadhi, Ramanuja was elected to become the next Acharya as Jamunacharya's successor. But he immediately said, I will not become the next Acharya right away. Give me time, give me 2 years. So then he spent some time with each of the prominent disciples. He served them and heard from them what they had learned from their Gurudev. Only after hearing from them for 2 years did he accept the post of Acharya. Yeah, surely they could see that he had some magic in him. And another reason that they wanted him to be the Acharya, even though they had served his Gurudev more closely for so many years, they came together and they saw his extraordinary characteristics and his personality. So therefore they collectively decided to appoint him to that post. And they offered him the honored Acharya's seat in Sri Rangam. So he only accepted being Acharya because that was their order, so he did it as a service. And he spent, with some of them, he spent 2 months, some 6 months, or another one a year. And he very, very sternly endeavored to understand the philosophy, even though, of course, he's already an incarnation of Lakshman. Lakshman means Balaram. Balaram means Kandakuri Tattva. Serving and satisfying them, he then commenced his role as Acharya of what Sampradaya? Sri Sampradaya. Later, the ruler of that country, namely Kolatunga II, King Kolatunga II, heard that Ramanujacharya was very strongly preaching his philosophy. So Kovataka II wanted him killed again, fearing that if he remained alive, the Shaiva Sampradaya would go to hell. So he sent a message telling Ramanujacharya to come at once for debate. So all of his associates, Ramanujacharya's associates, knew that the king wanted to kill him. So his disciple Quresh told him, Gurudev, please don't go. I will go in your place. Please give me your danda and sannyas cloth. Like who? Who did that? Param Gurudev, yeah. Insisting, Quresh took them from him and gave him his own white cloth. He told Ramanuja to leave that place at once. Then, having taken his guru's sannyas cloth and danda, he went to the palace of the king. In the palace there was a great debate, during which Quresh defeated all the king's pundits. However, Quresh was alone, so the king's pundits released him after blinding him by plucking out his eyes. He then began to search for his Gurudev, who was now very far away. Fortunately, after some time, he came to the same village where Ramanujacharya was residing. So within that village, there were two disciples, a very rich one and a very poor one. Ramanuja told his disciples to go to the house of the rich one because his group was more than 50 in total. So he wanted the rich disciple to prepare prasadam and a place to stay for all of them. So two of Ramanuja's disciples went to this rich person's house and gave him the message. So the rich man became so happy, he went inside, absorbed in preparing for the arrival, but he didn't come back out to share with his two godbrothers at the door. So after waiting for some time, the disciples went back to Ramanujacharya and told him that they left him waiting. He left them waiting. So then Ramanuja replied, oh, then let's go to the house of the poor man. So then the poor Brahmana, he would go and beg every day for ingredients for his wife to cook. And between the two of them, they only had one piece of proper cloth, which his wife used. So when he would go begging, he would take that cloth from his wife. So on that particular day, after midday, he could not collect anymore, so he decided to return home. It shows that even if we can't collect a lot when we go out begging, Krishna has some plan. So let's see what the plan is now. In the meantime, before his return, Sri Ramanujacharya with all his disciples suddenly came to his house. His wife was very happy to see her Gurudev, but also felt ashamed because she had no proper cloth to wear, because their one common cloth was with her husband. So Ramanujacharya understood, obviously, and he slipped in his own chadar. So she wrapped this around herself and came in his presence. So after she gave a mat for her Gurudev and the disciples to sit on, she began to wonder, how will I arrange prasadam for my Gurudev and 50 people? Well, I remember there was one lusty grocer, and every time I would go to get foodstuffs from him, he would say, oh, I'll give you so. He would say, oh, he would try to proposition me. So now if I go to him and tell him that, okay, I'll be with you tonight, but my Gurudev's here, so if you give me enough for 50 people, and I can make prasadam for them, then I'll come back to you at night. So he agreed, and he gave her more than she even wanted. Taking all that he gave her, she prepared very good prasadam, for all the devotees, and everyone was happy.